So I thought I'd make a little video on my Mustang here. I'm having a little issue with the transmission leaking. So the past few days I noticed that I'm having staining in the driveway, and I thought it was oil, and over here as well. And there's Hank. I thought it was oil at first, maybe a differential, but looking at where it was leaking from, it was from the front end, which I was kind of confused about. And then I went underneath the car, and there's just transmission fluid everywhere, all underneath here, spraying all over the place. And there's no dipstick for me to really check that, so I was looking around and then did some digging, and these are transmission cooler lines right there, and they run down into here, up into here, and there's a transmission cooler right around there. So I was feeling around in there, and looks like it's leaking right around here at this fitting. So I ordered the part. Hopefully I'll get that in a day or two, and replace that, rip the whole front end apart, whatever needs to be done to get to the connectors there. And I'm not sure how much fluid I'm actually going to leak out, and then I'll have to top off the transmission. So this is not something I'm looking forward to, but it's got to be done. I thought I'd film it because I couldn't find any videos on it. See, there's like fluid everywhere, and I don't really want to drive the car too much because I don't know how much fluid I've actually lost. So let me start taking this apart and get this fixed. Okay, so far I've taken off the clips for the connectors, and to me this is indicative that the line on the right is the one that's leaking because it's very wet. This one's more so dry, which is this line right here. So there's another video of a guy talking about if this fitting is leaking, then all you have to do is replace this section of the cooler lines. If that fitting is leaking, then you got to replace the lines that follow up into here, way down there, right down into there, to the transmission itself, which would be a lot more work. So luckily that looks like that's the problem, so let's keep going. All right, so far I've removed this trim piece here. It's pretty easy. It has these push-in clips. Just take a screwdriver or a pick and pop them out, and it comes out just fine. And then lastly, I removed this piece right here. It goes right in there, just pops out, just yank it. It's got a Christmas tree clip, I think, yep. So now I can see my lines here. They're gonna be a little tight, but hopefully I can get it. Rusty clamp here, then a rusty clamp in there. Of course, this is in the way, AC condenser, but hopefully I can get it from there or from the top here. All right, let's try to get that. All right, so I got that clamp removed pretty easily actually on this side, on the bottom part. So let's try to get the top one. All right, this top one is a pain, but let's see if I can get it this way, right there. I'm actually getting it. All right, so I actually got the clamps removed, at least slid off the hoses, off the barbs, I believe, off the transmission cooler. So the top one, I just had to get a smaller pair of grips and get down in there, and then I twisted it so it's easier for me to grab. So now let me try to slide these hoses off. If I can't slide them off, I'm probably just gonna cut them off because I don't want to pry too hard against the AC condenser or the transmission cooler. So I started prying this hose down here. It's starting to come off a little bit by bit. There we go. Trying not to put too much pressure against everything, but it's hard to do that. It would make more sense to remove all these parts, but I'm just trying this first. All right, so I got that one pried off pretty well, and the top started, so let me try to yank these off. All right, so I got this line off on the bottom. It's leaking out pretty well. Got a towel down there. I mean, I gotta replace this whole line, so I might as well drain out. I'm probably gonna lose a quart or so in here, I'm not sure, so let's get the top one off. All right, some wrangling. I got the top one disconnected. Let's pop it off. There we go. That one is disconnected. Let's see if the top's leaking. Probably. Can't see it that well, but we are fully disconnected. Now I'm gonna get the fittings off in the front and go from there. All right, so I got the front lines disconnected. Now I'm gonna try to get the rear lines disconnected right there. I bought these tools off Amazon. It's a 1/2 inch and 3/8 like transmission line disconnector. I think it's pretty common for Fords, so I'm gonna give this a shot. So basically, I believe I go like this, go right around there, right on top of there, and then slide it down and pull apart, and it should disconnect. I got a bath towel ready down there to soak up any automatic transmission fluid. Hopefully my wife doesn't watch this video and realize where all the bath towels went. So let's get that disconnected. All right, let's get this tool on. So I believe it goes in like this, and this thin part goes into the connector right down there. All right, I just yanked it like crazy, and there we go. So it works pretty well. I like how it's aluminum and not plastic, so it should be reusable for a few times at least. But basically I got this lower sleeve right here into this fitting right here. Once it gets flush there, then I pulled as hard as I could. Nothing really came, oh, I got a little splash right there, but nothing really came out of this hose. So then now I'm gonna disconnect this line. Let's try to get that one. Push in. All right, so I got the last connector off camera. Basically what happened is this connector was being incredibly stubborn. So I ended up unbolting the bracket itself, pulling it out while it was still connected so I could flip this up. And I took a pick and scraped out some gunk. And then I was able to take the tool and basically wiggle the tool and wiggle the whole fixture together so it would slide in nicely. And now it's off. So there is the one that goes to the transmission that hopefully won't leak, because that one requires you to replace the line going all the way to the transmission. So let me pull that out, and then I can get the new one installed. Here it is, it's leaking. I'm trying not to have it leak too much in here. Here's the old one out of the car. So that's the one that should be leaking. That one was not leaking, so we got the part out. Not too hard, kind of a pain if you don't want to get your hands too dirty and filthy, but it's not too bad of a job so far. I shouldn't say that, knock on wood. Knock on wood. Okay, so here's the new part here. It's a Ford part, BR3Z-7R081-C. I'm gonna install it down here first, get these fittings connected, and then get those fittings connected. All right, so I got it fitted through. Take some time to just get these two hoses to straighten out and wiggle them in. So let me get these, it's still loose. I'm gonna get these lines at least hooked up before I bolt it in case I'm having a hard time bending that to get it to go into the barb. All right, so the lines are installed, the clamps are on. Just gotta wrangle them in there and take your time, especially getting this hose clamp up on here. It's difficult. Of course, always put the clamps on before you put the hoses on. It's a rookie mistake, I've done that many times. But now I'm gonna do the lines back here. I got it bolted in. It's a 10mm socket. So let me get these lines connected. Get these caps off. Keep that one on. I guess I just push it on. Hopefully listen for a nice click. Don't want any more leaks, that's for sure. All right, so I got the first line over here connected. I just pushed it until you hear a loud click. Hopefully the same with this one. It goes smoothly. I actually cleaned off the ends of these real quick with a rag. Might just be it. Let me just get in there. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna try to pull them apart as long as they turn. Okay. I really hope this doesn't leak. I don't like how easy it is to install that. I kind of wish it was just like a hose fitting, because like the O-rings in here fail. It's really not a good peace of mind, especially with this one that's not replaced. It'd probably make more sense to replace this whole line, but I'm not going to do that on this job. But for now, they're installed. So now that the lines are installed, I'll put this piece back together. I was going to watch for leaks, but I'm sure it's not going to leak out of the front. If anything, it'll leak over there or back there. So get that installed, the piece, and then I will lift it up and check the transmission fluid. There is a little dipstick, but you got to do it underneath the car. So I'll start there. The car's cold. I'm going to look into how to check the fluid. I'll check it cold and then pump it out, and then I'll fill in what I need to put back in there. And the last part put on is complete. So got that shroud back in there, this cover, and then I also, again, film, but I put the two caps back on these connectors here. So the front end is all complete. I got my transmission fluid from Amazon, Mercon LV. Then I got this 5-quart bucket, and I thought I ordered one with quart lines on there and I didn't. Oh well. I just want to see how much I can pump out of the transmission and then see how much I'm going to pump in, and obviously add a quart or so and monitor that depending on how much I've lost in the past 2 weeks since I've been leaking. So let me get the car jacked up and start draining it. All right, so we are under the car here, and on the passenger side there's the plug for the transmission fill and where you suck it out. I believe it's a 19mm socket or wrench, so let me pop that off and get the dipstick out. All right, got the nut to crack. I'll just spin it off. It's tight in here, that's for sure. Right, here's the nut, and then there's your dipstick. So let's see what we got. It's been cold all day, so it's down, pull it out. Wow, this is tight in here. It's kind of crazy. What the hell is that? Okay. God, I don't even know. All right, there's my level. Let me clean it off, wipe it, check it again. So when I check it, it's at the top of B. I gotta see where it's supposed to be. I'm assuming between A and B, but I have the car jacked up in a little bit of a weird angle, but that's okay. At least I'm gonna change the fluid. But it doesn't look like I lost too much, but the transmission cooler right now is actually empty. So, and the lines, they're at least at the end, so I'm sure I need to add some anyway. So I'll drain this out, pump it in, and then check it. All right, so I got one end of the pump into the transmission through the filler hole where the dipstick was, and now I'm gonna pump into this bucket here, and I actually marked it with another larger bucket I had, and I marked it just so I know how many quarts I'm actually pumping out, so I don't have to buy another bucket for tonight. And we'll see how much we get out. I'm hoping to get, I think it takes 6 to 7 quarts or so to fill up with like a new transmission. I'm hoping I can get 3. We'll see. Alright, so I got as much transmission fluid as I can pump out. Initially it just pumped out 2 quarts, and then I moved the hose actually shorter and tried to get another corner in the oil pan, and went just shy of 4 quarts. So that's pretty good. I also got, again, no transmission fluid in the cooler lines and the cooler up here. So I'm not going to drop the pan in this instance. I am just going to shove in 4 to 5 quarts to start. I just want to do 5 quarts just in case of the fluid that I lost up front and from leaking. So let me get that siphoned out of the new can and we'll get her filled up. All right, so the fluid is in. It actually ended up only taking just under 4 quarts, or about 3.5, and then started puking out the top fill hole. So I got the car running. It's running well. It's been about 5 minutes. I'm trying to get that fluid circulate a little bit. Just checking where it's leaking before. So far, no leaks. Nice and dry. Gonna let it run for about another minute or 2. Then I'm gonna take it on a short drive, get through all the gears, and then park it. Keep it running, and then I'm going to check the fluid while it's running, make sure it's in the right spot. Alright, just ran it through all 6 gears, running perfect. Did reverse works good. So let me just check the fluid while it's hot, and hopefully I got it in the right spot. Checking the fluid while the car's running. This catalytic converter is very hot. We're getting it. Okay. We're looking low. So let's add some more fluid. So I pump more in there while the car is running, and then the oil is actually circulating, sucked up where it needs to be. Looking good right there. Let's try that again. It's kind of hard to rate it when it's running all over the place, but let's do it once more. Pull it out, watch the catalytic converter. Looking good to me. It's pretty much in the middle, and I'm just out of fluid, so that's where I'm going to call it. Nut is finger tight. And there we go. Nice and snug. And I left the car running so oil wouldn't leak out once I shut the car off as the reservoir fills back up. All right, the car is finally complete. No more leaks, and the transmission is filled up properly. So what I was doing wrong is I was filling up the transmission while the car was off, and it was starting to spit out the top, and I thought it was full. Then I would start it, check the level, and it would just be too low, like probably ½ inch below the hash marks. So I kept the car running this time and pumped it up and then checked it, and it was finally where it needed to be. Then I capped it while it was still running, and now it's good to go. I actually used just about 5 quarts. 4 quarts I took out, 3.5, 4 I took out, but I probably lost, let's say, a quart in the trans cooler and the lines. So that's pretty much it for this video. Hopefully it helped you with your Mustang or another Ford product, and thanks for watching.